Have you ever said yes to something, and then 5 minutes later you thought, wait, why did I agree to that? Maybe it was staying late at work. Maybe it was lending money. Maybe it was joining something you didn't even want. And the scary part is, nobody forced you. Nobody threatened you. You chose it. But what if I told you that choice wasn't fully yours? Someone guided it. Someone shaped it. Someone used psychology on you. In fact, it probably happened to you this week. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how it works. How people quietly control decisions without raising their voice, without arguing, without you even realizing it. And once you understand this, you'll never look at conversations the same way again. Let me ask you something. Are you the kind of person who says yes, even when you want to say no? You agree just to avoid awkwardness. You stay quiet just to keep the peace. You go along with things, even when they don't feel right. And later, when you're alone, you replay the moment in your head and think, why didn't I speak up? Why do I always let this happen? Maybe you've noticed this too. Some people walk into a room, and everyone listens. They don't beg. They don't shout. Somehow, people just follow them. While others get ignored, talked over, used, or taken for granted. And if that's you, listen carefully. It doesn't mean you're weak. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It means you were never taught how this game is played. You were trained to be polite, to be nice, to not cause trouble, while others were trained to influence, to lead, to shape outcomes. And nobody told you the difference. But today that changes. Because once you see what's really happening inside your mind, you'll realize you were never powerless. You were just unaware. Here's the truth most people never learn. You don't make decisions the way you think you do. You like to believe you're logical, rational, in control, but science says something very different. More than 90% of your decisions happen below consciousness. Before you even think, your brain feels first, then it decides, and only after that, it creates a story to justify it. That's why you'll say things like, I thought about it. It made sense. It was my choice. But most of the time, that's your mind protecting your ego. Because nobody likes to admit, I was influenced. I was pushed. I was guided. Your brain is constantly asking for questions. Is this comfortable? Will I be accepted? Is this safe? Have I done this before? Comfort, approval, fear, habit. These 4 things run human behavior. And people who understand this don't try to control you. They do something smarter. They control the environment around your decision. The tone, the timing, the words, the emotions. They don't push you. They guide you. And here's the key line I want you to remember. You don't control people. You control the space where their decisions are made. Once you understand that, influence stops being mysterious. It becomes a skill. And now, let me show you the first one. Secret number 1, framing reality. Let me show you something powerful. 2 people, same situation, same request, completely different result. Imagine this. Someone comes to you and says, hey, can you stay late today? What's your first reaction? Probably, ugh, I'm tired. I want to go home. I don't feel like it. Now listen to this version. Hey, I've got something important, and I need someone I can trust. Can I count on you? Same request, different frame. In the first one, you hear extra work. In the second one, you hear, you are valuable. And your brain reacts differently. Because humans don't respond to facts. We respond to identity, to how a situation makes us feel about ourselves. Strong, responsible, special, needed. This is why great influencers never say, do this. They say, you're the kind of person who does this. They don't push actions. They shape self-image. And once someone accepts an identity, their behavior follows automatically. People don't act based on logic. They act based on who they think they are. That's framing. You're not changing reality. You're changing what it means. But here's the thing. Framing only works if they trust you. And that brings us to the next secret. Secret number 2, emotional mirroring. Have you ever met someone, and within 5 minutes, you felt strangely comfortable around them, like you'd known them for years? You trusted them without knowing why. That wasn't luck. That was mirroring. Your brain is wired to trust people who feel familiar, who feel like us. So subconsciously, you relax. You open up. You listen. Powerful influencers understand this. They don't try to impress. They don't dominate. They adapt. If you're calm, they're calm. If you're excited, they match your energy. If you speak slowly, they slow down. If you use simple words, they do too. They mirror your tone, your rhythm, your body language, even your values. Not in an obvious way, in a natural way. That's why great leaders, great negotiators, great speakers can talk to anyone. They make every person feel, this person understands me. And once someone feels understood, they feel safe. And once they feel safe, they become influenceable. Here's the truth. People don't follow the loudest voice. They follow the safest one. This is why quiet people often have the most power. They listen first, they adapt, and then they lead. But now, let me show you the most dangerous skill of all. Secret number 3, planting ideas. Now listen carefully. This is where influence becomes invisible, because at this level, you're not telling people what to do. You're making them think it was their idea. And once someone believes, this was my choice, they will defend it, even if it hurts them, even if it benefits you. Powerful influencers never give orders. They ask questions, but not random questions. Strategic ones, questions that guide the mind. For example, instead of saying, you should start working out, they'll say, how do you want to feel about your body next year? Instead of saying, take this opportunity, they'll say, what do you think would happen if you tried this? Now the idea is inside their head, growing, expanding, and because it came from them, it feels personal. It feels right. Another trick is repetition. Not annoying repetition, subtle repetition. The same idea, in different words, in different moments, until the brain accepts it as truth. That's how trends are created. That's how opinions are shaped. That's how movements are built. And here's the key line. The strongest form of control is when people believe they chose it themselves. No force, no pressure, no conflict, just influence. But this power has a dark side, and you need to understand it. Everything you've learned so far, framing, mirroring, planting ideas, can be used to build people or to break them. And history shows us most people choose the second. Think about cult leaders, toxic influencers, abusive partners, manipulative bosses. They all use the same psychology, not to empower, but to control. They make you doubt yourself. They isolate you. They reward obedience. They punish independence. Slowly, you stop thinking for yourself. And one day you wake up and realize you're living someone else's dream, not yours. This is why this knowledge is dangerous. In the wrong hands, it destroys lives. Power without character becomes poison. And I'm telling you this because I respect you. You're not here to manipulate. You're here to master yourself, to communicate better, to lead better, to live better. Real influence isn't about control. It's about responsibility. Because once you understand the human mind, you can either trap people or free them. And now, let me show you how to protect yourself. Defense, how not to be controlled. If you understand influence, you also need to understand defense. Because the goal isn't just power. The goal is freedom. Here are 4 habits that protect your mind. First, pause. Whenever someone pressures you for a quick yes, stop. Fast decisions are emotional decisions, and emotional decisions are easy to hijack. Second, question your feelings. Ask yourself, why do I suddenly feel guilty? Why do I suddenly feel scared? Why do I suddenly want to impress? Those emotions are signals, not commands. Third, watch flattery. You're the only one I trust. You're different from everyone else. Only you can help me. Sometimes that's sincere. Sometimes that's bait. Fourth, recognize pressure patterns. Fake urgency, silent treatment, playing the victim, creating fear of missing out. These are classic control tools. Once you see them, they lose their power. Remember this line. Awareness is immunity. When you're conscious, you're hard to manipulate. And now, let's turn this knowledge into something real. Let's bring this out of theory and into real life. Because influence isn't about tricks. It's about everyday moments. At school, at work, with friends, with family, online, everywhere. Let's start with school and college. Imagine you're working on a group project. Nobody is taking responsibility. Everyone is lazy. Instead of saying, you guys never help, you frame it. If we do this right, we'll be proud of it. And I know you're capable. Now they see themselves as competent, and they act like it. At work, instead of begging for opportunities, you mirror your boss's values. You speak their language. You show reliability. You become this safe choice. And safe choices get promoted. With friends, instead of controlling, you inspire. You listen first. You understand. You guide. And people follow willingly. In relationships, you don't manipulate emotions. You create emotional safety, which is the strongest attraction. Online, every viral creator understands this. They frame stories. They mirror audiences. They plan ideas. That's influence. Used responsibly, this is what real power looks like. Not forcing people, but helping them become better versions of themselves. And now, let me tell you who you really are. Let me tell you something important. You were never weak. You were never too nice. You were never easy to control. You were unconscious. Nobody taught you how influence works. Nobody showed you how minds are shaped. So you blamed yourself. But now, you see the pattern. You see the system. You see the psychology. And that awareness changes everything. From this moment on, you don't just react. You respond. You don't just follow. You choose. You don't just speak. You communicate. You're not here to manipulate. You're here to master yourself, to master your emotions, to master your words, to master your presence. That's real power. Quiet, calm, unshakable. Most people will never learn this. They'll live on autopilot, controlled by habits, by fear, by approval. But you're awake now. You're a conscious communicator. And once you're awake, nobody can easily control you again. If this video opened your eyes, don't let it stop here. This channel exists for people who want more from life. More awareness, more strength, more control over themselves. If you're one of them, make sure you're subscribed. Because every week, we break down psychology, power, and human behavior. With honesty, no fake motivation, no empty talk, just real tools for real life. And one more thing, think back to a moment when someone influenced you, without you realizing it. Drop it in the comments. Let's learn from each other. And if you know someone who needs this, share this video with them. Not to control them, but to protect them. I'll see you in the next one.